Monday recap show here. It's Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball presented by FanDuel. I'm Dan Vespris, still the same old guy at Dan Vespris on social media, where I'm hoping that I will see you at some point this season. And of course, this show is member of the Believe network of podcasts. Today we're breaking down the Monday results. Pretty straightforward episode. Really cool stuff going on the program so far. Actually, you know what? No, we'll do it like 10 minutes in. I have some things that I wanted to show you guys, some new stuff that I've been working on, but we'll wait and get to that in a minute. First things first, hit that like button while you're settling in. Even if you haven't made up your mind on whether or not you want to subscribe to Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball, hit the like button. That's an easy one. Much appreciated. Thank you for doing that. I like you. You're cool. Let's talk about yesterday. The Wizards beat the Bucks. This is disastrous. Giannis was, I don't know. I mean, he was fine, but by Giannis's accounts, he was kind of half asleep in this ball game. And then afterwards, late last night, presumably while sitting in a hotel in our nation's capital, I actually don't know where the Bucks were last night, Giannis deleted the last 3 to 4 years of social media content off of all of his platforms. What does it mean? Does it mean anything at all? It certainly means that the Bucks lost to the Wizards and he wasn't feeling very good about it. And the shame, too, is that the Bucks got Kevin Porter back for almost one entire ball game. What's wrong with this dude right now? He left with back spasms in this one. At least it wasn't a re-aggravation of the same crap. But damn, Kevin Porter was cooking the Wizards. 30 points, 4 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals on 12 out of 15 shooting with 5 3-pointers and only 1 turnover in 31 minutes before leaving with back spasms. KPJ was a plus 13 in this game. Giannis was a minus 2. Does that mean Kevin Porter Jr. is a better player than Giannis? You be the judge. No, obviously the answer is obviously the answer is no. You can't make jokes nowadays where people are going to be like, look what Dan said. Point is, Kevin Porter Jr. should be rostered in all formats for whenever the hell he finally gets healthy this year. And if Giannis happens to not be there, that's a double whammy. AJ Green has had a nice little run lately where he's been, even by his accounts, particularly efficient from downtown, but that's what he is. Don't overextend yourself on AJ Green. He is a very high-level streamer. Ryan Rollins is a hold, especially if Kevin Porter Jr. misses a couple of ball games again. Over on the Wizards side, Marvin Bagley got the start with Alex Sarr out for the back-to-back yesterday and today. This is what I was saying on Twitter. Keep an eye on who the starter is, whether it was Bagley or Vukcevic. If Bagley got the start, I said throw him into your lineup. He was good. Not great, but good. You'll take 22 and 8 on good field goal percent. That's fine. Not a lot else, but good enough. CJ McCollum had one of his better games again. I do think that ultimately he ends up as a punt field goal guy. I need to be more careful with the way I describe these dudes. And then you slide all the way down to the names near the bottom of the board because Justin Champagnie had a pretty good game, but 19 minutes. So Cam Whitmore had a good ball game in 19 minutes. Kristen Vukcevic had a good ball game in 20 minutes. Don't care. I need the opportunity. Chris Middleton has quietly had a couple of slightly better ball games lately in bigger minutes, and you know he's going to sit the back-to-backs, but again, you can't. Don't, please, dear Lord, don't do the Chris Middleton thing. Like, he's number 224 on the season for a reason. 'Tis the season for a reason to not roster Chris Middleton. Bilal Coulibaly, I am officially downgrading on today's show to a head-to-head only play. I see no way that you can possibly roster a guy who's this bad efficiency stuff in 9-cat roto. It's just not going to fly. So head-to-head only, punt something that he's bad at, and you can make him pretty viable. Keyshawn George, by the way, is actually not that far off from moving into that category as well. He's outside the top 100 on the season now after that top 40 start. He's really cooled off. 46.8% shooting now down there, down to 73% at the free throw line. Turnovers are absurdly high for Keyshawn. He's got to get those under control. And just everything has kind of come back down to a more reasonable number. I'm leaving him as a 9-cat guy because he is so well-rounded outside of right now turnover. Like 8-cat, he's still good enough so you can kind of swallow that pill. So Keyshawn stays above that threshold, even if Coulibaly moves below it. And I said I was going to mention this stuff later on in the program, but I'm going to mention it now because I'm going to do a show on this very soon. But I want you guys to see what I've been working on kind of behind the scenes, which is the in-season bucket board. I've never done this before. This is a first season for it. I'm zooming way out, which I realize on Twitter you guys are not going to be able to actually see the names on the screen. But this is, I went through the first 300 players. There aren't 300 names on the list because I didn't list the guys that I thought belonged off of rosters. But anybody on this board, which, by the way, completely free for you guys in the Google Sheet, linked in the show description, any player that I thought belonged on fantasy teams in any capacity is on this board. I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. So, like, here's the head-to-head team build guys. It was just talking about Bilal Coulibaly. I put him in there. They're highlighted in very, very light beige, so you guys know what my latest adjustments were. Basically, like, my goal is to daily, if I move names around, I highlight them so you guys can see where they've gone. I think you might be able to see the edits on this, but nobody wants to go edit digging. So you guys can see the names that I've changed. Like, there's Davion Mitchell and Con Kneppel. They got, like, slight upgrades. Ayo Dosunmu, he got a slight upgrade. Nembhard, Ryan, Marvin Bagley, Bilal Coulibaly, these guys moved around a little bit yesterday as well. So please check this out. The reason this is important, this isn't even promo because this is totally free. This I think is the thing that's going to help us all. What this does, as I pivot back over to the box scores, is when I say nothing changes for me on this, you can be like, what the hell does that mean? You can just go to the Google Sheet and you can see where I have all these guys. Click of a button, done. Save the link. It's very simple. All right, Atlanta, Detroit. Good ball game here. Low scoring, but a good ball game. This is a perfect example. Nothing changes for me for Atlanta. Where does Dan have the various Atlanta Hawks? Well, let's see. Where can we find? You can Google Risa Shea. There he is. He's in the head-to-head low or medium volume schedule stream bucket, meaning he's a good enough to stream when he has a pretty good schedule. You don't even need the perfect one for Risa Shea. The other guys on this team, they're all over in this all format start department. So there's Okongwu and Trey Young and so on and so forth. Oh, I have Naz Reid in there twice. Oopsie whoopsies. And I have Reed Shepard in there twice. Probably should have checked that out yesterday. And I have Jordan Poole in there twice. I should have done this at a different time. And Benedict Mathurin. Because I copied and pasted some names over from other boards, and then I forgot that I did that. And so now we have basically names that you guys gave me for the bubble board that I thought, what the hell do we need these names on here for? Those are the ones where there ended up being two. In any event, there you go. You guys got to see me wipe out a few names in real time. So no changes for Atlanta. Easy peasy. You just go over to the board. You see where I've got them. Detroit, behind 9 defensive stats from Cade Cunningham, able to slip through this one. Not to mention 5, by the way, from Isaiah Stewart, who was excellent in this one. And he stole a bunch of Tobias Harris's, a lot of S sounds playing time, and he deserved it. I don't think you can roll Stewart in all formats while Tobias Harris or Jalen Duren are both healthy. He's a great fill-in play. And if you guys wanted to know if you're like, well, where do you put Isaiah Stewart? He's in the low or medium volume stream board. See? I don't need like 3 games and 4 nights to play Isaiah Stewart. I'm totally fine with him going, every other day for a 4-game week or something like that. Roto, I need somebody to be out. That's one of those cutoff points for how I'm ranking these guys. This board's going to be so useful. Asar Thompson was a little bit better. Big note here was Dennis Jenkins, who got the start for Duncan Robinson and shot the ball horribly. 2 out of 16 from the field, 0 for 2 at the free throw line. But he had 8 boards and 6 assists. And so you look at that and you're like, okay, everything went wrong for Dennis Jenkins shooting the basketball in this game. But what if he doesn't have the world's worst shooting game? What if he goes like 6 for 16? Not even good still. Now you're talking about an extra 8, 9, or 10 points. So now you're talking about 15 with a 3-ball, rebounds and 6 assists. Boy, that would have made everybody's eyes pop out of their head. So I think, and I put his name on the boards again, like this is, I think he's in the assessment board for me, but injury replacement style, keep an eye on that. He had a lot to do in this ball game, even if he wasn't very good at it. Jalen Tyson, the ultimate fill-in. What a fill-in superstar that guy is. Not another opportunity here with Darius Garland sitting out. So Jalen Tyson went huge. It's so easy at this point. DeAndre Hunter has been downgraded. Downgrading DeAndre Hunter. He is not a full burger board name anymore. DeAndre Hunter, in my opinion, is a burger streamer, meaning when someone's out, you can stream him for head-to-head. I wouldn't put him in my roto lineup. And when this team gets fully healthy, he probably falls into just like a high-volume streamer only. Jay Huff continues to roll along. Wasn't a great ball game, but 15 points, 3 blocks, and 3 threes. You ain't arguing with that. Andrew Nembhard, both Nembhard brothers had good games today. Andrew Nembhard had 21 and 6. Cool. TJ McConnell left briefly. Sounds like he's fine. He remains where I had him ranked before, which again was a very good schedule streamer. Meaning, again, you don't need 3 games in 4 nights. You don't need the back-to-back. Just like a pretty good schedule is enough, but not good enough for me to play him every day. That's where I'm at with TJ McConnell. Clippers are terrible, but at least Kawhi Leonard had a big ball game. Chris Dunn, he also falls into the streaming category. I think I'd rather have a better schedule for him. Same story for John Collins. I'm officially slotting John Collins into the I need a high volume stream. Some of the starters in this one, James Harden just he's out of gas. He got Miami'd. Nobody gets South Beached quite like James Harden gets South Beached. Man, the Clippers are terrible. Truly bad. The Heat, on the other hand, are really fun this year. They play fast. They score a ton of points. This is 140 in regulation again. Adebayo, big game. Davion Mitchell, big game. Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Tyler Hero, all big games. Khalil Ware, not a big game. 9 rebounds and a block in 16 minutes, but you got no choice but to hold on. So nothing actually changed for me in this ball game because prior to coming into it, I was like, look, you're holding all of these guys. And so that doesn't change. But what I did do is I bumped up Wiggins and Davion Mitchell. And I know playing the Clippers is not the time to be like, yay, everybody's golden, because the Clippers are terrible and everybody looks great when they play against them. But I'm like, you're seeing who the Heat want to have on the floor. And the fact that Wiggins is still getting to do a lot of stuff, which, wasn't a huge question mark, but a small one at least. And then Davion Mitchell, which was a medium-sized question mark, he still looks good. These are great signs that you can hang on to those guys. So I upgraded Davion Mitchell to a guy that you just hold right now. He's a play in all formats until we see something to change our mind. The Bulls were without Kobe White, who was dealing with some soreness in his other calf and lingering effects of a cold, so he sat this one out. Kevin Huerter went out early in this ball game. I'll put the little pop-up on the screen with an adductor injury, and that left a lot of playing time for Ayo Dosunmu. Not that we were surprised at how much he was playing because he started the game, so the expectation was that he was going to get stuff to do. But as bodies kept falling, it just meant more touches, more orchestration, more being a focal point instead of just a catch-and-shoot guy for Ayo. So if Huerter and Kobe White happen to miss another ball game, I think Dosunmu would be a one-game play in that instance. Trey Jones left briefly in this game, but still was around long enough to play 30 minutes. He had 20 points on efficient shooting. Not as many assists or steals that we'd want to get out of Trey, but hard to argue with 20 efficient points with 3 assists and a couple of threes. Like, it's fine. It's a middling game compared to what we were gunning for with him. But Trey Jones remains a hold as well. Again, especially useful when guys are on the shelf. And Matas Buzelis finally had a better ball game. He was due. He'd had a lot of bad ones. So a good one had to show up at some point. Pushed himself back up to number 107. That's what I'm telling you guys. He's going to bounce back and forth between 80 and 130 all season long, which what does that make him? Just outside the top 100, a guy who got wildly overdrafted. If the Bulls clear out any space, that's when things get really interesting for Buzelis, but I think at this point, you just play it out. Goga Bitadze left late with a hip injury for the Magic. It doesn't change things all that much. It just sort of secures Wendell Carter Jr.'s fill-in level numbers for a little bit longer, which you're playing him with Paolo out. I thought the bigger story in this game is the continued, not even of this game, frankly, but the biggest story lately is the continued rise of Anthony Black, who's really just getting better and better seemingly every week. Last week, he's number 83. The bad free throw shooting is what's been weighing him down. Missed a couple more in this ball game, but you're getting defensive stats, you're getting field goal percent, and you're getting scoring, you're even getting threes. I don't know how much of this is sustainable. And frankly, I don't know if maybe the free throw comes up as the other stuff comes down. But Anthony Black has now officially shown me enough where I am putting him on the burger board. He is fully into the one burger department with Paolo Banchero out. I do think that this probably evaporates when Paolo comes back. But in the interim, he's been bumped up. Tristan da Silva's been bumped down from a burger stream guy to a only in high volume stream zone. And again, you can see all these guys who get bumped up and bumped down on the Google Sheet that I've been telling you guys about. In addition, by the way, if you're thinking about that Google Sheet, there's other stuff over there. There's the burger board where we've got all of the injury replacement level names that we're working on. And this is a great way to get really good per game production. These are guys that you can just use regardless of schedule, although Phoenix is a tough one right now with one game in 6 days. But regardless of schedule, these guys are just putting up big numbers. They're not good schedule plays. They're good opportunity plays. You've got the streaming calendar. If you want to set up your board on a given week, here's week 7. You guys can see on your screen how lovely that is. All of this stuff is in the Google Sheet. All of it is in the show description, which now I kind of feel like I should share a show description page. Here, you guys want to see this? This is, I'll share you. This is what I get to see in the YouTube studio. Here's the show description. Zooming in real far. Here's all the things that are in there. You've got my Twitter, @DanBespris. You've got the Google Sheet with all the buckets and the ranks and the streamings and the whatever. That's all here. You got the iTunes link, the Spotify link, the YouTube link, which many of you already are dealing with. You got the Discord link, Blue Sky link, Instagram that I don't even really use. You can find out who did our logo. You can find out who did the music for the show. That's my dude Slick Rock. In addition, and I'll ask you again kindly in advance, consider a 99-cent membership. And I know it doesn't seem like much to you. It feels like the effort you're putting in to give 99 cents is more than it really means. I promise you that's not the case. It is useful. It really is, especially once we hit the off season and the pods are not generating much revenue. I got to find a way to make sure I can pay the nanny and childcare costs. And this is how we're going to get there between podcast revenue and Patreon/YouTube. I think we can do it all together. So please, please, please consider it. If we've won a bunch of money over the years, throw me 99 cents. I don't like having to do this, but we got to get there before the end of next season, or then I have to change things. But I feel pretty damn confident we're going to get there because the podcast continues to grow at a really nice clip. And between that arc of that and getting a few more YouTube and Patreon members, I don't see how we don't get there in any event. But that's, of course, me assuming that you guys are going to be a part of it. So thank you in advance. YouTube members, I also answer your questions on shows, so that's a side bonus. If you want to get your questions answered, it's freaking 99 cents. And this show is brought to you by FanDuel. Almost forgot. Thanks, FanDuel. Charlotte lost at Brooklyn, a battle of toilet dwellers. Moussa Diabate continues to slice into Ryan Kalkbrenner's numbers. They've both been playable lately, although I would continue to trust Kalkbrenner more just because he's the starter on this team. If that ever flip-flops, I would flip-flop as well. Right now, I've got Kalkbrenner as a full start. I've got Diabate as a guy you stream in almost any decent scheduling spot, but a guy that you could drop when the schedule's not as good. Colin Sexton is a more high-volume only stream guy. And I bump Con Kneppel up to just a full play. I think we've seen enough to say that even when this team is healthy, which they largely have been lately, I think Brandon Miller sat this one out. So that obviously meant a little bit more for these other guys, but like we've seen Kneppel, he's getting to do enough even when the team is healthy. I don't think he's going to be great when the team is healthy. So that's the other part of it. Like he's not going to be a top 60 guy like he is when guys are missing. But if you can get top 100 value out of him, you do it. You know, it's not like, let's not overcomplicate this thing. It seems like he's going to be good enough to be on rosters when the team is healthy. So upgrade him. Let me upgrade. Do you remember, guys? Remember that? I think it was like a Beyonce DirecTV commercial. Miles Bridges, by the way, has fallen down to number 60 after his top 30 start. I think we all knew this was coming. LaMelo Ball, number 79 and injury prone. Do not draft LaMelo Ball. So many times we say this. So many times. Michael Porter Jr. is back. That's cool. He's been great so far this year. He's number 34 in 9 category leagues. Noah Clowney had a solid ball game. I like the efficiency in this one. That was a new step for him. Defensive stats, I do think those probably level off a little lower than they've been lately, but he's top 75 over the last 2 weeks on probably an unsustainable 90% medium-high volume free throw shooting and 2 defensive stats a game. I believe that long-term Noah Clowney is a head-to-head guy and probably not a 9-cat roto guy, but right now, he's both. Igor Dummin, he's the guy you're looking at after the trade deadline, but it's December 2nd. Houston, I don't think I had any fantasy adjustments on the Rockets. Not a one. Hey, Amen Thompson got 2 blocks, though. Utah, I don't think I had any fantasy adjustments on. Oh, no, I did. One adjustment. Kyle Filipowski played 29 minutes again. Normally, that would be enough for him. He's basically like a watch list guy right now. I don't know that you can't pick him up because he's not starting. And if Nurk was playing a little bit better, honestly, if Nurk was playing better, he might have definitely gotten benched. I don't know that Utah's desperately trying to win these ball games. But Filipowski played well down the stretch, spaced the floor, guarded well, better defender than Nurk. Almost everybody on planet Earth is. So he got some more playing time. And this is what we've talked about since the moment that Nurk took that starting job when Kessler went down. It was just a matter of time until that job becomes Filipowski's. We just don't know when it's going to be. I still think I think we're looking still farther down the road here, but Filipowski needs to be firmly on your watch list because the moment we see that starting lineup come out and it's like, oh, Nurk's going to come off the bench and do his little rebound assisting nonsense in 19 minutes again, Filipowski's got to be added immediately. Not yet. Not yet. Everything else the same. Ace Bailey head-to-head only. Markin and Keontae George are the guys that you're using in all leagues. Dallas had some stuff happen yesterday. The smaller story was that PJ Washington, we talked about this on yesterday's podcast, stepped on a basketball during warm-ups and tweaked an ankle. And so he's missed a couple of ball games now. Najee Marshall's the play when PJ Washington sits. That's just strict burger board stuff. Ryan Nembhard is the much larger story. He had 28 points and 10 assists in this game on a ridiculous 12 out of 14 shooting. He was absolutely fantastic. +9 when he was on the floor. He and Cooper Flagg both were just great. Obviously, Anthony Davis is looking a little bit more like AD again. But I mean, what do I actually think is going to happen? I think that Nembhard probably ends up fading. He's a rookie. Like, the energy is going to run out. Teams are going to adjust. But for this moment right now, Nembhard needs to be added immediately just to see what happens because he's clearly taken the job from Brandon Williams and D'Angelo Russell. Those guys are afterthoughts. Nembhard's the guy. If Kyrie Irving surfaces. So technically, this is still, I guess, an injury fill-in play. But Nembhard, add. Let's see what happens. What's the downside? He falls apart like the other point guards. We've seen it twice already. 3 times, if you count how many times it's bounced back and forth between Williams and D'Lo. Nembhard probably falls into that same plan as well. But, I mean, they like what he's doing. They like his passing more than the other guys. They like his ability to finish more than the other guys. He's way faster than D'Lo. Brandon Williams is pretty fast, but he's got all of his big gaps. I mean, Nembhard's looked good pretty much everywhere he's been. Summer League, smaller minute blips. He looked great against the Lakers a couple games back. Why not? Let's see. Jamal Murray tweaked an ankle. He tried to come back. He couldn't really come back. It's one of those things where he was like, well, this is my one chance to play on it before it swells up. My guess is that he probably misses a couple of ball games. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know who the definite ad is for this one, because you're already playing Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson, in addition to, of course, Nikola Jokic. That's an easy one. My initial thought would be that you see more Bruce Brown because he's a little more point guardy than the other guys. But I think it's probably going to be a little bit of a hot hand thing. So do we see more Spencer Jones? He had 28 points and everybody's going to point to him, but he didn't have a single assist. And you replace a point guard with a guy who's just going to jack up shots. That's probably not the right answer. Could it be Tim Hardaway Jr., who apparently passed relatively well? I didn't see his assists in yesterday's game, and I rarely do with Tim. But is Tim Hardaway going to be the guy that gets the big bump? Because someone's going to get a bump here. I just don't know which one it's going to be right now. I think if you had dead weight, I would say Tim Hardaway Jr. is the guy I would trust the quickest, just because his game probably translates the best, because the Nuggets are going to get him open. That's the Jokic way. But I personally am just watch listing all three, Jones, Hardaway, and Bruce Brown, to see who gets the start for Jamal Murray. Do they take advantage of that start? And then, I don't even need to see the full game. I could see 3/4 of a game and tell you if they need to get picked up or not. And finally, we'll start with the Lakers side because it's boring. Luka Doncic almost had himself a Stackhouse. I know that that's not like a traditional Jerry Stackhouse thing, but when I first started playing pretty early, it wasn't the first year, but Jerry Stackhouse, if you look at his career stats, there's a year in there where I think he was on the Pistons or Wizards, early 2000. Jerry Stackhouse had, I think, multiple turnover triple doubles. And don't get me wrong, like he had really good fantasy game during those years. So the fact that I remember those moments, I think is probably doing a little bit of a disservice. But like 2000, 2001, Jerry Stackhouse averaged 4.1 turnovers a game. Those are the guys this year we're pointing at and you're going, oh, like that's punt turnover. But he also averaged that same year 30 points, 4 boards, 5 assists, and 2 3-pointers. So he was a monster usage guy for a few years. It was mostly the Pistons years, I think. He came down a bit when he got to Washington. Yeah, it was Pistons Stackhouse. I'm remembering the logo. And my college roommates and I, we always used to joke about a Stackhouse. The Stackhouse triple-double was points, turnovers, and probably assists, sometimes rebounds, usually assists. And Luka almost had himself a Stackhouse yesterday with rebounds instead of assists. 9 turnovers. Honestly, should have just left him out there to get that last turnover. They left LeBron out there to get his 10th point. By the way, LeBron looked horrible in yesterday's game. So did Luka. I know Reeves had a terrible line, but he actually didn't look as bad as these other guys. He was moving with a better speed. It looked like a team on a back-to-back, but LeBron didn't play the front end of it. He just looked old. And that's going to happen when they play fast, aggressive teams. There are going to be days where Bron looks freaking old. No fantasy changes for the Lakers, so that was just to point out the Stackhouse. Classic Jerry Stackhouse Doncic. Phoenix side, that was actually a pretty big piece of news yesterday. Devin Booker checked out pretty early in the game in the second quarter with a groin tweak. He is considered doubtful, and I would almost put him lower than that. Like guys that leave with a groin thing almost never play in the next ball game. I would assume Devin Booker misses at least one game. I would actually assume he misses a week, but maybe I'm being too harsh. Needless to say, all the Phoenix extras become even more interesting. With, of course, the very large, ugly caveat that the Suns play one more game this whole damn week. Just a soul-crushing note on a team that is jam-packed with incredible pickup guys right now. Colin Gillespie is going to go nuts. He's already going crazy because Grayson Allen was back out for this game with an illness. So, this was, first of all, the Lakers really needed to be a bit more engaged in this one, but the Suns came out hungry. So Dylan Brooks took 26 shots. Royce O'Neal had a career-high 11 assists. I'm a little surprised he didn't even do more than that. Colin Gillespie went big, 8 3-pointers. All these guys need to be on rosters. The question marks now with Booker going down are, what about Jordan Goodwin and Ryan Dunn? Both of those guys had pretty good ball games yesterday. Goodwin's was better. He had 13 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 3 3-pointers in 25 minutes. And he got the start in the second half after Booker was ruled out for the rest of the ball game. Let's find out the situation on Booker. Let's find out the situation on Grayson Allen, because I think there's a very real chance that Grayson coming back just takes Booker's spot. And that would leave Gillespie in the starting 5, but it would also leave Jordan Goodwin on the pine. So I don't think you make any moves on Phoenix today, largely because, as we just talked about, they're not playing again for a decade. They're off today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Then they're in Houston on Friday before they are off again for the weekend before NBA Cup stuff at the beginning of Week 8. So, I mean, there's a chance that Booker doesn't miss any games. There's a chance that he only misses one. And that would mean that, you're blowing a roster move on the head-to-head side because the team doesn't have any games left. And then in Roto, you might be dropping somebody who you can watch for a couple of ball games, even without playing them, before the next time Phoenix even takes the court. So no moves for Phoenix right now, but got a close watch on Jordan Goodwin if Grayson Allen's not back by Friday. I got to think he's back from an illness by Friday, wouldn't you think? I would think. Booker, maybe not. Grayson, probably yes. So odds are Gillespie, Grayson, Royce, Williams, Brooks end up being the 5 guys who start and you start in Phoenix's next game on Friday, unless Booker's back, which likely pushes Gillespie to the bench. But we're not there yet. And I will once again flash over to the buckets board as we wrap up today's show. If you guys want to zoom in and see the various changes, it's hard for me to fit all this stuff on a screen because it's a lot of names. But there you go. Master list. You want to know where I got these guys? That's where I got these guys. Did we talk about Giannis? We talked about Giannis, right? I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Dan Vespers. Again, consider the 99 cents. You don't have to, but consider it. Make sure to like the video on YouTube. That's a big one. Subscribe. Dear Lord, please subscribe, however you're taking in the content, especially iTunes and Spotify, folks. If you're finding us here late in the game, please subscribe. Follow on Twitter at DanBesbris, at Dan Vespers. You can follow Old Man Squad on social media as well. I don't know if it's going to help you as much, but it's over there. Kingy put out a great show this morning where he listed basically every single player that needs to be rostered in fantasy basketball. I did a show this morning on the burger board. This one coming up later today. Nothing from me. Tomorrow, we're going to get a show going on... Ooh, I had it and I lost it. Well, stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. I'm trying to get a specialty show in the morning, trying to sort of flip over so the shows get to you guys sooner. Okay, enough logistical stuff. Thanks for watching. Like, rate, subscribe. See you guys soon.